If that was the case, there'd be no good reason to stop this individual from going out there and taking his readings. It could be that they're waiting for some shorter half-life radiation to burn off so it'll be undetectable in the sample. Or it could be that there's some radioactive contamination going on out there that don't want people to know about it. But it's very disconcerting, and it falls exactly in line with this report of millions of disintegrations per minute per square centimeter. Now what that means is if you take that value, millions of disintegrations per minute per square centimeter of plutonium, and you calculate it out, what you really get is that calculation is saying that plutonium was spread over the DOE site at a concentration very roughly equal to around 1 gram per square meter. Now that plutonium would have had to come from an exhaust vent at the site. And so if you have roughly 1 gram per square meter of plutonium laying on the ground that came out of a airborne exhaust vent, that means you more than likely had much more plutonium in the air, since only a certain percentage of it would have given off a surface level deposition. So it's extremely concerning there what's going on. Yeah. Now, we're still not sure what's happening there, but in the end, it seems that what is happening is worse than what's being let on. So be prepared. And let's look real quick at this the individual on Twitter who gave us this information and then deleted everything. We did a search on their name, Pair of Deuces. And if you'll notice here, they had contacted us and said it was silly for us to point out that people should not discount Fukushima as the source of this reading. And we still don't discount Fukushima, except if this truly is millions of disintegrations per minute, then that would highly rule out Fukushima, because that's a large amount of a gram per square meter of plutonium spread on the ground in New Mexico, and don't expect that to come over and land on New Mexico from Fukushima without landing on a bunch of different places in between. But this individual, he or she contacted looks like Zach Ponce. That was the reporter who wrote this article we mentioned earlier for the current Argus newspaper. And so they had a lot of questions for this reporter, and said his response to whatever their conversation is, we can't see it anymore because it's been deleted, is that the story is coming soon. Now, again, our takeaway on this Pair of Deuces person is that they did have technician level knowledge of DOE procedures and jargon related to the type of sensors DOE would use and how they would take their measurements. But they didn't have real theoretical knowledge of nuclear physics, but they did try to come across as if they did, which we consider to be puffing. So it's hard to say what's going on here. It's just very, very weird. And given that DOE is not letting people on site to take measurements, and they're still keeping people off the site and not letting people go underground, very, very concerning. But again, don't rule out Fukushima. There has been some reports that the radiation readings inside the vault are going down. That could be an indication that it is radon, which likely would have been a Fukushima source. If you look at our past videos, we explained how it got there. But we don't know. But be prepared.
Fugitive whistleblower Edward Snowden may be in limbo over where his future lies, but one of the UK's most vulnerable institutions is happy to give him a position of trust. Students at Glasgow University in Scotland have nominated him as rector. Tessa Seeley explains.
Former U.S. National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden has been elected as the student rector of Glasgow University, one of the oldest universities in the UK. The role of the rector is to represent student issues to senior management at the university, but previous incumbents have been elected as political statements. So the group that had nominated Edward Snowden said that they did so because he stood for democracy and that voting for him would have shown support for his flight as a wanted man after revealing the extent of global surveillance by the NSA as well as other spy agencies. And they said that this would also send a message to governments of their opposition to the intrusive nature of state security. Now, as far as Edward Snowden is concerned, this isn't his first award. In October 2013, he received the Sam Adams Integrity and Intelligence Award. And also just this week, he's one of the recipients of the 2013 George Polk Award in Journalism in New York.
You're listening to the Alternative Media Broadcast Network.
Decision by the Kansas House of Representatives to pass a bill which would have allowed the legal discrimination of gay couples was met with outrage across America. A somewhat embarrassed state Senate now plans to sink the legislation which would have allowed people to use their religious beliefs to openly deny services, care or employment to homosexual couples. Guy Nature reports.
Kansas lawmakers have outraged the gay community here in the U.S. As you know, last year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the ban on same-sex marriage is unconstitutional. So you have states that have embraced this ruling, and you have states that are trying to shield themselves from that ruling. And here's how Kansas is doing it. Kansas lawmakers have passed a bill that would allow businesses and state government employees to deny services to same-sex couples if, quote, it would be contrary to their sincerely held religious beliefs. So according to these lawmakers, forcing businesses or state employees to deliver services to same-sex couples is a violation of their freedom of religion and speech. Gay rights advocates are, of course, outraged over this. Some say it could be worse than simply not allowing gay marriage because we're talking about services that could include medical care. So state hospitals can potentially turn away gay couples at the door and deny treatment, and this bill would protect them from discrimination lawsuits. If a gay couple calls the police, an officer may refuse to help them on religious grounds. That's how broad the language of this Kansas bill is. We're asking residents of Washington, D.C., one of the most gay-friendly cities in the U.S., what they think about this bill.
I think it's really terrible. I think that employees should not be able to just, not let same-sex couples have the same benefits as regular married couples based on their religious beliefs.
It's a fundamental contradiction of separation of church and state.
That's fine.
Why? Why do you think that?
I don't think that the state should be able to force people to do things that go against their religious beliefs.
Kansas is not alone. So-called religious exemption laws have been proposed in Idaho, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Oregon. 20 states have laws protecting residents from discrimination based on their sexual orientation, but most states do not. And it seems last year's Supreme Court decision and the overall trend toward equal rights for gay couples have prompted some of these conservative states to take an even more aggressive stance against the gay community. In Washington, I'm Ganesh Chekyan, RT.
Earlier, we spoke to one activist who told us that same-sex couples in Kansas are discriminated against on a daily basis, regardless of any legislation that's being enacted.
In Kansas, we have no anti-discrimination statute, which includes sexual orientation or gender identity. Even if the Supreme Court tomorrow were to declare that the Kansas anti-discrimination bans are unconstitutional, residents of Kansas could still go right ahead and discriminate as they do today. So it's kind of a smokescreen that a lot of people are throwing up, that this is really about cakes and wedding pictures. People already will have the ability to turn that down because there's no protection for sexual orientation. The main thing that this bill will do that will upset the LGBT community is it will enable the government employees to continue to pick and choose what marriages they deem are valid by this statute. So even after it's declared unconstitutional, They're trying to give employees in the government the right to go ahead and turn down citizens. And that could be any employee of any government agent.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, homies?
Hello, brother.
Never seen y'all before. You new to the hood?
Yeah, we're from a ghetto in a different city.
Oh, y'all from D.C.?
What?
Got a skins hat on. D.C.
Oh! Yeah. Oh! Yeah, we're from a ghetto in D.C. Yes. But not like the CIA or anything. Man, I am just really stressed out lately. Just really, really tense. Dude, you should try some of this crack. That's a great idea. Some crack would really hit the spot right now.
What y'all talking about?
Oh, it's just this new inexpensive way to get incredibly high. You wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, no, you're right. Gotta keep my mind clear, stick to the books. Trying to go to school in the fall.
Yeah, it's just this new way to help you get into school this fall. You wouldn't be interested.
Wait. This can actually help me get into school?
Yeah, just a little bit'll really help you concentrate on your studies. Plus, you could sell it and save all that money for college. Just an ounce of it will get you up to $100.
$100? Wow, that would help me pay for all my books and stuff.
Yeah, it could help you pay for all your books and stuff.
$100 an ounce. Wait a minute. What's that gonna cost me?
Oh, for you. We have 2 vans full of it over there for free.
For free? That's great.
And remember, it's called crack.
Crack.
Yeah, C-R-A-C-K, crack. Here's a pager if you need any more.
Wow. Guys, wait. I just want to say this is a blessing. I don't know if you noticed, but things have been kind of rough around here. Holding down 3 jobs, got a baby girl coming in May. I just wasn't sure how I was going to make it, but this is really going to help me get my life back on track. So thanks, guys. Thank you.
Hey, just doing what we can. Here to help.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Oh, by the way, there aren't any up-and-coming Martin Luther King Jr. types we should know about, are there?
And you kind of get caught up in the surface of it all. Oh, he's minding drunk driving. Look at these funny viral videos of him dancing or something. It's like, no, this guy helps appoint people to the police oversight board. He's the CEO of 50,000 people. Like, he still is. That power was not stripped of him. He's the CEO of Toronto right now.
Welcome to the Vice Podcast Show. My name is Patrick McGuire, and today our guest is Robin Doolittle, the author of Crazy Town, and one of the few journalists in the world who have seen the video of Rob Ford, Mayor of Toronto, smoking crack.
Smoking out of what looks like a crack.
What is probably, maybe, allegedly a crack pipe.
Right.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So one of the interesting things your book goes through is that period of time when the Star and Gawker broke the alleged crack video story, and the time that Chief Bill Blair and then later Rob Ford actually admitted that, you know, he has used crack before. You say in your book that during that time, the Star lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of subscription revenue from people that just basically presumed the Star was making the whole thing up. What was that period like in the newsroom and for you personally?
I didn't know about the subscriptions at the time from where I was sitting. The thing that was most upsetting for me, and I write about this in the book, was shortly after we reported on the video, this poll came out that showed half of the city thought that the Star had made it up. And that was just like a completely perplexing and heartbreaking moment. that people could think that that would be possible, that Gawker would break this story at 8:30, that the Star would get together with all of its editors and lawyer and, another, like, there were 2 reporters, myself and Kevin Donovan, and say, okay, we're going to make up that we've also seen it.
Yeah. And
so Gawker has this story. Let's change a few details between our story and the Gawker story. Like, for instance, Gawker said, Rob Ford said Pierre Trudeau is a fag. We're going to say it's Justin Trudeau is a fag. Let's do that. And then